Welcome back to another class in applied Buddhist practice. So the purpose of Buddhist spiritual practice is to reconnect ourselves with our own awareness nature. Usually when I say, when you meditate, do not think too much about becoming something or achieving something during meditation. Today, I trust you to say this. I trust in your ability, so I will say this. Now, when you meditate, you are getting somewhere. You are reconnecting with your own Buddha within. So if you spend some time practicing Buddhism, practicing meditation, and you haven't changed, you have to look at your practice. Because really the purpose of Buddhist meditation practice is to invite you to look at who you are deeply. And today, we'll look at that collectively and help each other to see through our perceptions, to see through the way that we normally operate in the world that prevents us from getting closer to who we are. And the topic today is about our own Buddha nature. This is a big word, Buddha nature. I want to break it down for you, which is your own inner goodness, your inherent dignity, your own awakening nature. Some of you may doubt yourselves that, I'm not a Buddha, I can never be a Buddha. I have so much defilements, affliction, suffering. How can I be Buddha? Hold on to that thought, okay? So when the Buddha became enlightenment, he instinctively knew that everyone has the potential to be just like him, which is to achieve what he had achieved. We may not be like him, sitting in a big altar and people pray to us, but he said, I am the awakened one. And I see that all beings have this potential to be awakened. Meaning just that he said, I'm a Buddha, and you all can be Buddha too. To break it down a little bit more, a Buddha is someone who is awakened, someone who wakes up. That's the meaning of the word Buddha, literally. So he woke up and he said, all of us have the capacity to wake up like him. So that's why we call Buddha nature. It's a big word, but it just means, you wake up. He wake up from his dream all together. But we can wake up in a smaller chunk. So don't be afraid to think about that potential that we all possess. And to talk about Buddha nature, it is insufficient if we don't talk about bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the seed of awakening. Somebody types the word bodhicitta in the chat for us, please. Bodhicitta. So it's the seed that we all have. One obvious question that we may have is that it is extremely difficult to become a Buddha. Yes, obviously. It's not like getting a degree after 4 years. Thank you, Trung. It is something that we have to do for many, many eons. Right? It's true that it's extremely difficult to be a Buddha. Perhaps we're not trying to be a fully enlightened Buddha. But my concept when we get in at this one is that we can be partially enlightened being. That is doable. Or we can be monthly awakened being, or we can be weekly awakened being, or daily awakened being. First of all, we have to acknowledge and strongly believe in the nature of awakening in us. I don't care what kind of Buddhism you practice, Pure Land, Zen, Theravada, Mahayana. You have to acknowledge that you can become someone different, someone better. Otherwise, what's the point of your practice if you think that you cannot change, you cannot become something better, right? So if I try to tell you, but you don't believe and you don't acknowledge that you have this nature in you, it is a waste of time, because you deny the existence of impermanence altogether. Because we are always changing, and you say, I cannot change. Then what's the point, right? It's like I'm showing you a way to another city, which has been traveled by many people, and you don't believe me. What's the point of sharing, right? And your past experience, your past behaviors may try to convince you that you are no way near that awakening nature. You may think that you really know who you are, which is someone so bad that never deserve to have this Buddha nature, that you don't have this seed in you. No. That is never the case. And we are and were educated by our society that we learn from our experience, right? But the point of Buddhist practice, and also in psychotherapy, is that it is a way of restoration of the innocence after the experience. Okay? So we have experiences that we accumulated from our past, and certain experiences are not that favorable, and those experiences weight us down. So the point of meditation practice is to restore our innocence, our inner goodness after those experiences. And the way that we practice meditation is similar to the way that you go to therapy, to restore that sense of wholeness. Your past behaviors or perceptions is a small manifestation of your habitual patterns that you have accumulated out of ignorance. All of us have such experiences, but it's not who we are. It's a small part of us. So now, from this point, I urge you, I demand you to acknowledge that you have the seed of awakening in you. It is the first step that is extremely important, regardless of what happened to you. From this moment on, okay? If you don't believe that, then we have a problem. I don't know what's the point of our practice if you don't acknowledge that. Okay? If you are still not convinced, tell me one reason why, and I will help. We'll collectively try to see through that. You know, why is it so hard to believe that we have the potential to be awakened? So you have this is a story I really like, a metaphor. So you have a room that is in the darkness for 1,000 years, okay? You don't need 1,000 years to light the room up. What do you need? Just one spark of light, right? The room, regardless of how long it has been in the dark, just one spark of light, pew, then the room is lightened. So we have been ignorant for many eons, many years, 1,000 million years. We don't need 1,000 years to dispel our ignorance. We only need a spark of wisdom, right? And that spark starts today. That is the acknowledgement of our potential to be awakened. Secondly, we have to distinguish what Buddha nature is and what the ego is. Sometimes we pat ourselves on the back saying that, I'm doing this because of my true Buddha nature. I'm good because of this nature. Be careful, okay? Sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two because our ego is very tricky. So, to know the distinction, we will say what the Buddha nature is not, right? The Buddha nature refers to the inherent potential to be awakened, right? But the ego is the sense of a separate self constructed through attachment The ego operates within the framework of duality, me versus you, right? My versus yours, right? It is driven by craving, aversion, and ignorance. And it's the source of our suffering, because it clings to impermanence, or sometimes it resists impermanence. So that is not Buddha nature. And thirdly, when we come closer to that nature, let me remind you again that we don't get enlightenment from outside. Okay? No teacher, no Buddha, no Bodhisattva give it to you. If a teacher say that, I'll give you this enlightenment, run away from that teacher or that person. Because what a good teacher does for us is to help us see that, not give us something, what a good teacher does is to help us cultivate, nurture our Buddha nature, our awakening nature. Okay? And in order for us to see that nature, thirdly, we have to transform our negative self-perceptions. I know that we all have our inner critics, right? Some of our inner critics are have stronger voice than others. But we have to see through that critic, that inner voice, saying you're not good enough, you don't deserve this, you are a bad Buddhist practitioner. I remember one of my friends said that I'm a really bad meditator. I say there is not a thing called bad meditator. You just meditate or you don't. Even though when you meditate, your mind goes crazy, it doesn't indicate that you are a bad meditator. So whether you meditate or you don't, there is no such a thing called bad meditator. Okay? And there is also no such thing as good meditator. If someone said that I'm a good meditator, also run away from them. Fourth is to recognize the awakening nature in you through your daily behaviors. Recognize and manifest. Okay? Because we know that what comes out of that nature is different from what comes out of our ego, our selfishness. So what comes out of that nature, awakened nature, is love and understanding. Any actions, any words, any thinking that you have should reflect that nature. And when the embodiments of that nature is always in the back of your head. Whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you think will be impacted by that. embodiment. And most importantly, okay, we know that when we realize this is not to put ourselves in a higher position, that I have Buddha nature, I'm a better person than you. No. When you know that, the eventual realization is that people also possess this nature, meaning that you also see Buddha nature in other people. That is very important. If we can see that, if we can see the Buddha nature behind those behaviors of other people, then you really truly see them. In Mahayana Buddhism, there is a bodhisattva called Avalokitesvara. She has 1,000 arms and eyes, right? It would be weird if someone has 1,000 arms and eyes, right, nowadays. But that is a embodiment of seeing people through the eye of a Buddha, of an awakened person. Because the eyes are on the hands, and when the bodhisattva see people through that, meaning that they see and they do something. So when you see yourself with that sense of awakening, you see others with the sense that they also have this ability, this potential, this seed. You act and you react differently. And that's the point. That is the important point. Because when in the Lotus Sutra there's one sentence that's very, very profound. I'm still trying to understand this. So the sentence is, a Buddha together with another Buddha see the nature of all things. Why? Why a Buddha together with another Buddha can see the nature of all things? Doesn't a Buddha enough? Doesn't a Buddha see the nature of all things? It is like saying that, in our relational world, when you see other people through the lens of your own Buddha, you see the nature of all things. So just imagine something simple. If you see other people through your compassionate eyes, you see them really different. And you see people through your angry eye, you will see people completely different. Right? So that's the purpose of our own practice. First of all, we need to see that in us, to believe that we have it in us. And through that, we see through that, we use that eye, we use that wisdom eye, we use that Buddha nature eye. We see people also possess this quality. Some people may say that, how can we see goodness in bad people. Right? Remember Angulimala? He's the worst. He was the worst. Remember, Angulimala is different than Ahimsaka. So Ahimsaka is the one who was Angulimala, but when he became the Buddha disciple, his name became Ahimsaka, which is non-violence. Okay? So Angulimala was the worst murderer. If the Buddha didn't see him with his awakened nature, then Angulimala would never be saved. Right? But the Buddha, with his awakened mind, see through Angulimala and help him to get in touch with his awakening nature. Imagine in a society, just maybe society is too big. In a family, husband sees wife as a bodhisattva, as Jesus, as God, as someone who is sacred, and wife see husband like that. Would there be ever conflict? Imagine in a community, in a sangha, when everybody can see through that, can see everybody like that. What would happen to our society? What would happen to our sangha? I would like to imagine that. And I would also like to invite you to imagine that. Use our creative imagination to place a seed of awakening in a place where you live. That is how you cultivate pure land. Pure land is the place where everybody sees everybody with awakened eye. Every once in a while, someone does something dumb, but people collectively see them beyond that dumb behavior. Nowadays, we see people without judgment, without discrimination, with our reactive energy, and that clouds all our, inner goodness and other people's inner goodness. Now we have someone in a very important place, always blaming others for something that he or she doesn't even know. So that will set a bad example for later generation, right? But what's important for us is to not look at them with our anger. We look at them with our Buddha nature, with our inner goodness, with our awakened mind. Would they change their behaviors? Maybe not in this lifetime, maybe not. But what does that impact us? What does that way of looking have on us? That's more important. Because like I said, don't try to change other people's behaviors, or don't try to understand people's mind. That is the most effective way to waste your life, waste your time. Okay? So instead of that, you may look at them through your own, you look at them through the eye of your awakening nature. So now I'm just kind of remind you that each of us already possess that bodhicitta, that awakened mind, awakened seed, and that can grow if you take care of it. It's just like, I used to tell my kids class that you have two forces in you, one good, one bad, always fighting. Which one will win? And my kids are very smart. They say the good one. More importantly, they say the one that you feed, the one that you nurture every day will win. So I want you to nurture the bodhicitta seed, awakening seed. Cultivate that. Are you convinced now? Nobody said yes, so we are wasting our time. All right, that's me. Let's open this class for more discussion and sharing. Love to hear from all of you. Say something that is convincing. Please convince us that we have this wonderful thing in us and we have forgotten a long time ago.